saw, dude. Hello everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So I think today's video might be a little bit on the longer side because we are going to be talking about Ballerina Farm, which I don't know if you guys have been seeing kind of what's been going on with them recently, but we are going to talk about that today. Right now, even though it is almost 1 o'clock in the afternoon, I still haven't brushed my teeth because I'm still drinking coffee. I'm not gross. I do brush my teeth, I'm very diligent about that, but when I drink coffee, I just feel like there's no point. And so because of that, I'm also not wearing any chapstick. Lately though, my favorites, of course, have still been the Salt Air. Legit, this is just a staple. If you guys haven't tried it, you need to. And then I recently got the Topicals Slick Salve. I actually really like this one. It's a mint flavor, and it's very cooling on your lips because it's mint, of course, so that makes sense. But anyways, those are the two that I've been using a lot lately. Also my Road Salted Caramel, which I think I forgot that in my car, but I'm almost out of that one, so I'm gonna have to replace it at some point. I think probably I got the vanilla one, and while it's good, it's just not as good as the salted caramel. So anyways, I think we're just gonna get into today's video. Okay, so what started off this whole controversy surrounding Ballerina Farm is an article that dropped on the Times website, and it was written by Megan Agnew. And so today we were going to be talking about the Nealmans, more specifically Hannah Nealman, the mom, and then she is married to Daniel Nealman. I'm gonna go through their ages and their names, but I'm not gonna show the kids' faces, even though they post them all over social media. I'm still gonna blur out their faces for obvious reasons, I feel like. And I am going to be looking at my phone for a lot of this because I have screenshots that are going to help me remember things that I want to talk about. Okay, so the family goes: Daniel, the dad, is 35, Hannah is 34, and then they have 8 children. So they go in age order. Henry is 12, Charles is 10, George is 9, Francis is 7, Lois is 5, Martha is 3, Mabel is 2, and their newest baby, Flora, is 6 months old. So they have 8 kids, 12 and under. That is an insane turnaround time to have kids. So we're going to talk about, I think, the article first, and then I'll kind of tell you guys what I learned going through their Instagram, well, Hannah's Instagram. Also, oh my god, I'm so hot. I'm sorry, I gotta kick in the AC. I might be having a hot flash. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry about that. I don't know why. It's been hot here and I've just been sweating like crazy. I also have to leave my door open now because Jesus. Okay. So anyways, the article begins with Megan going to their farm in Utah. Now, Hannah and Daniel both grew up as Mormons, and they're still very much into their Mormon faith. And that's something that Megan said that they were very open about when she went and actually visited them in person, because online, while they do say that, they're going to church and that they do talk about religion a little bit, they definitely talk about it more in person, according to Megan. So when she got there, she was first greeted by Daniel, and then later Hannah came down, and she had just gotten out of the shower. And one thing about Hannah, she is gorgeous. She has been doing pageants pretty much all her life. That's how she got scholarships to go to Juilliard, the big performing school. Yeah, she went to Juilliard. Girl was talented. But anyways, so Megan goes on to say that throughout the entire 4 hours that she's there, Hannah is holding baby Flora the entire time. And she said that it was very difficult to get answers directly from Hannah, who was that's who she was there to interview. She wasn't there to interview Daniel specifically. It's she mainly wanted to talk to Hannah, but she couldn't really get answers out of Hannah because either a kid would answer for her, a kid would need her for something, or Daniel would answer for her, which a lot of people are okay, that's super controlling, which it is. I don't like people answering for me either. It makes me incredibly annoyed. But anyways, so she was I didn't get many direct answers from Hannah. And then it was around lunchtime, so Hannah was gonna start cooking. And one thing about them is they don't do frozen meals or ready to serve meals. Everything is made from scratch because Hannah's a trad wife, a traditional wife. It's this new trend that's kind of going around. I don't know why people are so horny for the 1800s. Okay, you guys want to die from a scratch? I don't know. I personally don't get it, but if that's your thing, that's your thing. I mean, I don't want to completely bash that idea, but for me personally, I'm why are you so obsessed with that? It was a hard time in life. Just like, I think if we talk to anybody who lived during that time, they would tell you, yeah, it was hard. It was difficult. But anyways, some people have just such a fascination with that time period, which I get it. Yes, it's a simpler time, but we don't live in that time anymore. Things are different now. Anyways, so Daniel takes Megan out around the farm because they pack their own meat and sell it. And then they also have goats. I think they have sheep. They have dairy cows. They sell the milk. It's unpasteurized. It's like raw milk, which, I mean, you're not really supposed to do in some states. But in Utah, I wouldn't be surprised if, like, you were able to sell raw milk. But anyways, so that's like their business now, is that they sell these meat boxes where you can like buy meat and other products from them. And they really do have a big operation, which we'll kind of circle around to in a bit. But the milk cows are something that's like relatively new that they just got, and they built this insane barn for these milk cows. Like, these cows are being well taken care of. Trust me. I am like pro agriculture and everything. And honestly, it really did make me feel so good that this barn was so nice and it was clean, and hopefully it stays clean like that.
And in this room, I'm super excited about. This is actually our milk bottling room. So you'll see in here that we have the sinks in here, and this is where we bottle all the fresh milk. The tank is on the other side of the wall. The fresh milk will come in here, we'll bottle it, and then we'll be able to sell it fresh milk straight to you guys, which are super.
Now they do have, I think, 30 employees that work for this, like, I don't know what to call it, but for their company, the Ballerina Farm company, where they sell these meat boxes. So I'm sure, like, you've got a lot of moving parts with this business. So it makes sense why they have that many employees. And honestly, I'm sure they're doing pretty well. But anyways, so Daniel takes Megan, the reporter, out, shows her like all these things and whatever. And then he's like showing her ditches and like farmland and stuff. And she's kind of like, okay. She even says, I was getting kind of edgy because I had to leave soon. And I still needed to talk to Hannah. I hadn't sat down with just Hannah to talk to her. So she's like, I want to get back. I don't care about these ditches. And then Daniel gets a call from Hannah and is like, oh, yep, okay, no worries. Like, we're heading your way. And then he turns in the opposite direction to show Megan another ditch. And she's like, okay, great. So whatever. Then they get back and they legit have 30 minutes to talk before Hannah needs to take one of the daughters to their ballet class, which that's what Hannah went to Juilliard for, was for ballet. But anyways, so finally, like, Daniel's not there because he's taking a phone call. And Megan starts talking to her about all these kids that she has, you know, all 8. And Hannah was like, 2 were born in a hospital and then the rest were at home with a midwife, which again is very popular amongst like the trad family trend. And she had no pain meds for any of them. But then one of the daughters was a 10-pound baby. And Daniel wasn't there because it was like a production. It was like a meat packing day. So he had to be at home to like help run the business and like be part of that. He's very hands-on in the business. And she was like, so I did have an epidural. And she only mentioned that when Daniel went away to take a phone call. And Megan was like, okay, so like, how was it? And she goes, honestly, it was really great because she had a 10-pound baby and Hannah is a very small woman. So she was like, it was great. Like, I loved it. It made the whole experience more enjoyable. But the only reason she was able to do that was because Daniel wasn't there. So that was one thing a lot of people were like, okay, what the hell? She can't even have any say over her like body and her autonomy. Like, what the hell? She doesn't have any sort of medical say either. Like, her own medical stuff. She has no say in that. So anyways, that was one thing that people had a huge issue with, which I don't blame them. When Megan first got to their Ballerina farm, she noticed like a 15-passenger van, and she was like, oh, is the goal to fill it up? And Hannah was like, I don't know, like, you know, we're getting old, we're getting worn out, we're getting tired, you know, you're in your early 30s, like, ooh. And Daniel was like, yep, that's the goal, is to fill it, you know, we'll see. And then he's like, we always seem to have another baby 9 months after, you know, the last one. Like, that's when Hannah gets pregnant. And he's like, she always seems to want another one, you know, 9 months later. So we start trying. And it's like, does Hannah actually want that? Or is that what you want, Daniel? So Hannah, being that she was a ballerina, Megan asked her, is this the life that you wanted, being a trad wife? Like, is this what your goal was? And she was like, honestly, no. My dream was New York. I wanted wanted to be in New York dancing, being a ballerina. She goes, I was a good ballerina, which I don't doubt it because she posts tons of videos of her doing ballet around the farm, in the house. Like Daniel does help her with some moves where you need a second person, you know, and which is great. But it's like this poor woman is doing ballet just wherever she can because she doesn't have a dance studio. They did have like a space that they were going to turn into a ballet studio, but that didn't end up happening because they are homeschooling their children. So that turned into like a schoolroom for the kids. So she didn't get her ballet studio, but then Daniel did build her like a home gym because he's like, she doesn't always make it, you know, into town to go to a gym. So I made her a home gym. And it's like, okay, so again, you did that, but you couldn't build her a proper dance studio.
The project I've been working on is putting together a little gym here for Hannah, because she can't always get out of the house, you know, with nursing babies and all that. So got a little space here. Got these are just horse mats that I'm using for the floor. So still work in progress. I'm gonna get some mirrors up for her, and got a couple of pieces of equipment here that I found here locally from a friend. And I've got another one here in the box that just came that I need to set up. This is just one of those dual cable cross machines I gotta install.
Like, also keep in mind, Daniel's net worth is like, I think it's 6 million. I mean, like, that's not how much cash he has, but that's his net worth. So it's like, come on, dude. Throw her a bone. Build her some sort of little dance studio. You know what I mean? It just is absolutely absurd. So anyways, then at the very end of the article, that Megan ends it by saying, yeah, all of Hannah's dance uniforms used to be in cupboards in their room, but then Daniel like moved them to the garage. So now all of her dance stuff is just sitting in the garage, which is insanely sad. But what kind of, I think, helped this article kick off, and I think actually this video was posted first, but I'm going to show you this video. It's Hannah's birthday. In this video, she mentions like 3 times that she wants tickets to Greece. And what does she get?
Okay, that's my birthday present from Daniel. Hoping they're tickets to Greece.
Where's it from?
I don't know, the boys took it off.
I took it off.
It's from Ukraine.
So, plane tickets? Ooh, a hat I can wear in Greece.
It's not a hat.
It's not.
Oh, my egg apron!
Eggs in it.
Great, then you can gather eggs.
So cute. It's really cute. It's a cute one.
That's the best. You're welcome.
Thanks, honey.
Not for a long time.
Yep, he got her an egg apron, and you can just tell that she is like bummed out when she opens it. So what I really didn't like about this video was him saying, "You're welcome," when she didn't say thank you. And it's like, you absolute jerk. That's not what she wanted. Like, yes, it's nice and whatever, because they do have chickens. And I've seen videos of her collecting the eggs and stuff. They have so many eggs that they need a proper basket. And so it's like, this egg apron is not gonna do much. Like, you should have just gotten her a bigger basket or something. It was so dumb. But she's trying to be appreciative in this video, which is so insanely sad, I think. And now so many people are like, yo, get this girl plane tickets to Greece on like so many of their videos. And they haven't posted for a hot minute now since this article came out. But one thing about these tickets to Greece is people are saying, oh, this would be a perfect opportunity for Delta to send her tickets to Greece, because Daniel's father has started multiple airlines. Like, he is the founder of multiple airlines, like JetBlue. He owns JetBlue. That's actually how Hannah and Daniel ended up together. So they both were in New York for school. They met through some mutual friends. Or no, excuse me. Hannah was in New York for school, and which is like where Daniel's originally from, like up in that East Coast area. And then he was in school in Utah. So they just kind of like switched places. and she really wasn't interested in him. She was focused on Juilliard, and pageants were how she paid for Juilliard. She got like a bunch of scholarships, and that's how she paid for Juilliard. She went to New York when she was 17. Like, that is so young, and she was raised in a very conservative, Mormon household. So then getting to go to New York was like a huge thing for her. She wanted that so badly. So then Daniel and Hannah were talking, and she's like, oh, I'm on this flight, whatever, back to New York. And he's like, oh my God, me too. And turns out, oh my God, their seats were next to each other because they were flying JetBlue. And in the article to Megan, he goes, yeah, I made a call. I had like our seats switched so that way we could be next to each other. They dated for a very, very short time. I think they dated for like 6 months before they got married. And then 3 weeks later, Hannah got pregnant. So she actually graduated from Juilliard pregnant, and she's like the first modern person to do that, to be pregnant graduating from Juilliard. And she really, like, her dreams were to be a dancer. And she's like, I just kind of gave those dreams up after a little while, but Daniel and I both made sacrifices, and that, that's okay. Like, that's what you do for your relationship. And Megan's like, okay, but what sacrifices did Daniel make? Because you guys are living this very traditional lifestyle. You don't have a microwave, which is like fine because they have an Agnew, whatever, stove, and it's just on all the time. And there's only one person in the West that like knows how to set these up, how to like install them, which is crazy. But she's very proud of this stove, so good for her. But anyways, Megan was like, I don't know what Daniel gave up. So after they got married, like very shortly after, they moved to Brazil because Daniel started working at like this tech startup that was founded by his father. So they're living in Brazil, and during that time, Hannah was still dancing professionally, but they had, I think while they were in Brazil, they had like 3 kids, and then that is where they, being out in the remote areas, they were seeing all these farms, and they were talking about how one day maybe they would like to have a farm. And so if you scroll all the way down on Hannah's Instagram, you'll see that, yes, they do talk about farms and wanting that traditional lifestyle a lot, but it's not really clear, like, is that actually what Hannah wanted, or was that something that was like pushed on her from Daniel? So they say that, late at night, they would just, stay up talking about what kind of farm they wanted to have. Now, they've had 3 different farms. The first one, like, got too small, so they moved. The second one, I believe same thing happened. Like, it got to be just too small. They wanted to expand, but they really couldn't. So then they bought this third one. I believe that's how it went. Don't quote me on that. As early as 2015, they were talking about wanting this very traditional lifestyle. Now, one thing that's interesting is Daniel and Hannah actually had a leather backpack business, and it was called, let's see if I can find it. It was called Brazzy Genuine Leather Bags, which I don't think they do that anymore, but there are photos of them like looking at leather samples and whatnot. So it was something, it looks like that they both did. And Hannah was very adamant that if her and Daniel were to have a business, that she wanted to be like co-CEOs with it, which honestly, it does not feel like that's really what they are. It feels like she's the marketing person for Ballerina Farms, and Daniel's like the actual CEO, which is really just annoying. They had, it looked like a really nice house in Brazil, and she was, like I said, still professionally dancing. So there's lots of videos and photos of her dancing in Brazil. And like I said, the house that they have, from what few photos there are up of it, it looks very nice. And they honestly did travel a lot. They went to the 2012 Olympics. They went back to Connecticut, where they had like their first date at one point. And it was in 2018, I believe, when they got their first farm and when they started posting about that. And then their shirts for the farm came in January 13th, 2018 for Ballerina Farms. So that is really when this whole journey started. So that's 6 years ago, they've been building this brand. And then they went to like a ranch store and started buying, like farm clothing and whatnot. And it's like, okay, that's great. But honestly, I really just feel like Daniel is cosplaying as a farmer rancher. It's so annoying to see, like, when people make it their whole personality and they're like, oh, my cowboy husband or my ranch husband and da da da. It's so annoying because, like, when you're new to it, stop being that outspoken and acting like that's been your way of life for your entire life. I don't know why it's so annoying to me to see people that are like new to that Western agriculture lifestyle start to try to fit in, but they don't. They're using terms that people don't actually use, like, in that industry or in that lifestyle. It's so annoying. It's like, okay, yeah, you just learned that from TV or from movies, but it's like no one actually talks like that. It's so annoying, and I don't know why it is, but it just is to me. So anyways, then January 23rd, 2018, Hannah and, well, I guess I should say Ballerina Farm, which really is the one that's run by Hannah. Daniel does have his own Instagram, but this is the one that's ran by Hannah. So she makes a post, and I'm gonna read it to you. It's kind of long, but Daniel grew up in Connecticut and I grew up in Utah. We lived in Manhattan as newlyweds while I finished my dance degree at Juilliard. After Daniel finished his history degree, we moved to Sao Paulo, I think is how you say it, for him to work in a tech startup for 4 years. During our time in Brazil, our family started to grow and we began to be fascinated by farms and ranches. We constantly pulled over to inspect herds of cattle off the highway. We loved driving out of town on weekends to immerse ourselves in rural townships. We even came close to buying a bee farm of 40 hives. Okay, so it's not a bee farm. My parents are commercial beekeepers. It's not a bee farm. That is so annoying. I don't know why, but like, it's so annoying. And like 40 hives, that's not that many. Like, that's incredibly small. What was happening to us? We had a bug we couldn't shake. We wanted to be farmers. It wasn't long before we changed our apartment for a home with 2 acres of pasture. Again, that's not that much. We raised chickens and goats and fell in love with the lifestyle. We started to dream about the day when we would own our own little farm. We would talk late into the night about what species and where we wanted the farm to be. I remember a cattle ranch in central Brazil we visited. While the ranchers talked about their top-notch cattle, Daniel couldn't stop looking at the pigs. They were black pigs throughout the pasture, coexisting in harmony with the cows on beautiful green fields, nibbling on grasses and pursuing on fallen fruit. It wasn't the smelly, ever-muddy environment we usually saw pigs in, and it looked good on them. We soon found out that it was a rotational pasture system that moved the animals before the grass got too distressed, keeping the grass green and growing. So Daniel decided he wanted to raise pigs, free range and grass-fed. Each time we would go back to visit our parents in the U.S., we always took a couple days to look for farms for sale. After our time in Brazil ended, we moved back to the States and after much searching found a farm. Streams, pastures, mountains, springs we could see. So here we are, beginner farmers, doing what we dreamed about 5 years in the making. 2 days ago, we got our first four black Berkshire pigs. It honestly feels like I'm living the dream, our dream. Now, if only there were black pig emojis. Okay, but again, Daniel wanted the black pigs. So, like, girl, it's not helping your case at all. And then, 8 days later, she posted, I love seeing the children working on the farm. We wanted them to have freedom to roam, get dirty, and learn about sustainability in land and livestock. Henry used to be one of those kids who would cry every time a dog came around. Seems pretty normal for the life we lived before animals. He's come a long way. In Brazil, they have a joke that people with lots of kids must not have a TV in the house, which is funny because we have 4 under 5 and we don't have a TV, which always seemed to make the joke funnier when people would try a backhanded remark in that direction. We would laugh it off and confirm, yeah, we actually don't. Not having a TV isn't a Mormon rule, just personal preference, really. My kids don't do well with TV. They go crazy when I try to turn it off. I prefer helping them get their coats and boots on and letting them learn outside. Help them engage and gain self-confidence. Also helps with the housework. Doesn't mean I don't enjoy an Amazon Prime night with Daniel once the kids are sleeping. And then here's a few other posts that I kind of took screenshots of. You can pause if you want to read this. Okay, and then this is what's like super annoying to me. So this post is from June 29th, 2019. I am becoming more and more redneck as the days go on. I find myself wanting to take pictures in front of tractors and have been begging Daniel for a bigger truck. Something about all the sun, pastures, and big machinery we use each day to run the farm has really brought out the hillbilly in me, and I love it. Some things haven't changed, however. I still love to dance and eat sushi, and I'm still crazy about this guy. That's so annoying. That doesn't make you quirky and cool, Hannah. Like, that's annoying. Also, that tractor that they're standing in front of, yeah, that's not like a cheap tractor. And like, what kills me is like, you guys aren't actually really struggling. You have the money to put up all these nice buildings, get all this nice machinery to make your jobs and lives easier. A lot of farmers and ranchers that have been doing this for like years don't have that luxury. It's actually like a very hard lifestyle to have. And what kills me is the fact that they're just glorifying it. And it's like, okay, good for you that you don't have to struggle. Genuinely, nobody should have to. But people that have been doing this for generations and that like actually love and take pride in what they do, like, they're struggling. Not everybody, but a lot of people that farm and ranch are struggling. It's not a job that is easy to make money off of. Like, we have cows, but they're essentially a hobby right now. Like the beekeeping business actually pays for the cows. So it's like, it's a hard lifestyle and you're just glorifying it because you have money to do these things, which is kind of insulting. But I mean, again, no one should struggle, but it's like, girl, you're not quirky and cute for wanting a bigger truck. Some people actually need bigger trucks but can't afford them. So it's like, oh, just stop. It's so annoying. But anyways, she has lots of posts very similar to that one, which I honestly just like can't stand. But you know, like I said, you do you. Oh, they kind of both bother me a lot, but at the end of the day, I really do feel sad for Hannah because she gave up dance and then she tries to say, you know, oh, well, Daniel gave up his career ambitions. No, he didn't. He wanted to farm. This was an ambition of his. He did not give that up. Like, what are you talking about? Also, he wasn't forced into doing this. He could have just kept working with his dad, I'm sure, and you guys would be like multi-millionaires because his dad, I mean, not that they aren't already, but it's like his dad's a billionaire. What are you talking about? He didn't give anything up. Hannah was the one that did. And now this like poor woman, she has said in the article by Megan, she was like, yeah, sometimes, you know, I work so much and I get so exhausted that I can't get out of bed for weeks. Like I just collapse from being exhausted, which is so sad. So they do have someone come into the house to clean it. It doesn't sound like it's something that happens, you know, more than maybe once or twice a week, which again, good for them that they can have that. Like, wouldn't everyone kind of love that to some degree? But they don't believe in childcare. Well, actually, no. Daniel doesn't believe in childcare. So they don't have a nanny, but when they do have date nights, like they do get a babysitter, which is phenomenal that they do kind of get away. But it's like, it really just seems like her whole entire life is dictated by Daniel, which is so sad. Like, I feel so bad for this woman. But that is pretty much what's going on with the whole Ballerina farm situation. I don't know. I fell down the rabbit hole and was just insanely interested in the whole thing. And I hope that you guys like this too. Like I said, longer video. Sorry about that, but I hope that this kind of helps you understand what's going on with their life and why so many people are talking about them. So thank you guys for watching. That's it for me. I hope you had a super fun weekend and had a great start to your week. And I'll be back on a Wednesday with another video. Bye, guys.